Hi, I'm Tiffany Oshinsky, and this is Serving Pancakes with League One Volleyball. Over the next few episodes, we're going to follow Team USA's quest for gold at the Paris Olympics while also talking with talented people in and around volleyball and women's sports. Today's episode features two players who are the future of Team USA, Logan Eggleston and Asjia O'Neal. Logan is an outside hitter from Tennessee, and Asjia is a middle from Texas. But they became best friends when they united at the University of Texas, dominating the sport by winning the Big 12 championship every year and winning the 2022 NCAA championship. Asjia also played an additional year and won another title in 2023. Logan was a four-time All-American, named the NCAA tournament's most outstanding player and the National AVCA Player of the Year, and set the Big 12 career ace record with 208. Asjia also earned All-American honors at Texas, along with her two titles that I already mentioned, and finished her college career with the most blocks in school history. And now they'll both be returning to Texas to play for LOVB Austin. Asjia, Logan, thank you so much for being here, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
So excited to have you both on. Now, I want to start. You guys grew up in different states. You played volleyball in different club teams, but I know from my experience playing in all these different tournaments around the country that you kind of see the same teams at different tournaments. So, did you guys know of each other? Did you guys know of each other before you guys got to Texas?
So we didn't really know each other at all. Logan was actually the class below me and then last second classed up and then joined my class. So I went into college without the expectation of us even being really teammates at that first freshman year. So we did not know each other at all. I think our first interaction was basically at school.
We met
Was it?
at summer camp. Actually, we went to a Texas camp.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
this so vividly because I kind of knew who Asjia was because she was like a year older than me and she played at like a big club in Texas. I was like, she's like legit. Like, I remember when I was first talking to Jarrett, he was like, yeah, like Asjia O'Neal's committed. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I get to play with her. Yeah, I was like kind of fangirling. But no, we met at camp and I remember I was so intimidated. And then like a second into meeting, I was like, oh, she's actually really cool and like really nice. And so I think that was kind of the start of our friendship.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you both joined, like at what point were you two like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, I feel like right off rip, we were super close. Like you spend a ton of time together, especially in fall camp. We're at the gym all hours of the day, so you're really like forced to be with your teammates. But I think me and Logan clicked immediately, and I don't know, like the rest is
That's
history.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's funny because freshman year we weren't roommates actually, but Asjia literally would come in my room like every second of the day, and I was like, we just went to practice together, we had classes together, like we were in dining hall together, and then like after practice she'd be like, okay, I'm coming over. I was like, cool. So we weren't roommates, but like we were roommates because we were just like constantly with each other all the time.
Yeah, I'd sleep on your little futon or
Yep.
those little chairs in the middle. Yeah.
And I know it was not comfortable. It definitely was not comfortable, but
Oh,
you had to stick it
no.
out just to hang out. Just to hang out.
That's what friends do. Well, let's talk about winning the national championship together in 2022. What was that moment like for the both of you?
Literally like the best moment ever. I think, especially for me, I know was like already knowing she was going to come back for another year, but just knowing that that was my last game representing Texas, it was like the best feeling ever. Just knowing that I finished reaching all my goals with some of my best friends. And I think Asjia and I were both front row, so like we both just like collapsed to the ground. We were like, oh my gosh, like we can finally breathe. Like it was like all of the hard work that we'd put in the last 5 years, like we can finally be like, we did it. But I just remember, yeah, we were both like crying, like hugging each other. The pictures, we looked a little crazy, but it was like the happiest moment ever.
Yeah, it definitely was like the biggest sigh of relief, but also just pure joy, knowing that we finally did it. And then I was super sad because at that time I was like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna play with Logan again. Like hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll play together. But I knew for the time being that was gonna be our last match. So I was so happy that we won, but then I was so sad that I wasn't gonna play with like her or Sage or Zoe or all these other people ever again, which obviously we are. But in the moment, it
Full
was just
circle.
like a roller coaster of emotions. Yeah.
And Logan, you went on to play in Turkey. Asjia, did you visit her at all?
I did not
No,
visit, I did not visit Logan in Turkey.
that's a
I
sore
was going
topic.
to. Yeah,
It
I
sucked,
was
yeah.
going
Sorry to
to.
call you
Was
out.
in season while I was in season. So like whenever she was available, I was already back in America. But we're gonna try to make it happen. But maybe, Now we're back in America, so we don't even have to worry about visiting each
we
other
probably
overseas
won't.
again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, can you ladies talk about how volleyball has grown in Austin? I mean, what do you think is so special about the Texas program?
It's such an amazing community to be a part of. I mean, I remember when we got there our freshman year, like obviously the program had a lot of momentum, had won Big 12 championships, had been really successful in the tournament, had great players. The community was behind us, but just seeing the way that the fans just became more and more engaged and involved with Texas volleyball over the years was so cool to see. And I have to shout out our like social media team. I think like the way like the videos that they would post and just like the things that would just they took our program to another level. And I think that was the coolest thing to see people just love our team because they got to see our personalities and got to see kind of the behind the scenes of what we did every day. I think that was super important, but just seeing the growth of it in our 5 years and Asia's 6 years was just really, really cool. And it was cool to be a part of.
Yeah, I definitely think our social media team did a really great job at promoting our brand because now college athletics is so different than it was before. You really have to invest in the social media aspect in that side, and just even going to different stops during BNL, where like all across the world and people are in Texas Longhorn shirts, like excited, and Texas volleyball fans. That literally is such a testament to all the work that all of our social media people did. But that fan base is crazy. Like you could be literally anywhere in the whole entire world and you're going to meet somebody that's a Texas volleyball fan, which I think is so special.
And you guys got to break the record for most watched NCAA volleyball championship title game. I mean, I feel like that's got to be one of the coolest things to say that you were part of. I mean, this game that millions of people watched. And then not only that, but then you win the title while all these millions of people are watching. It's got to be so cool.
Yeah, it definitely was really cool. And I was just really happy for women's sports in general because that's so big. I knew we were playing on primetime TV and we wanted it to be a good match. We wanted people to be tuned in. But just because you have that primetime spot doesn't mean people are necessarily going to be watching the game. But the fact that that many people watched it was so special. And even just all of the new, like for the next season, so many colleges are playing in bigger like NBA arenas. Like so many people are watching the sport. And I think it's so cool to see the growth that's happened even from the past like 6 years I was in college to now. And I'm just really excited to see how it continues to grow while we're now professional volleyball players.
Yeah. Sure. And you guys had Jared Elliott as a coach. So what was he like as head coach at Texas? And did he have any mantras that he used to like to say that you kind of take with you to this next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think just his biggest thing, like the biggest piece of, I don't know, anything that he wanted us to take away was he always said, good people love people. And that's what our program was just like entirely based on was just like love the people around you, be there for each other. I think that's why we were able to win my senior year is because everyone was just pouring into each other every single day. And you just see it every single day throughout the program. I think that was his biggest thing. And that's the last thing with me post Texas. And I know will last with me forever. But that's just who he is as a coach and as a person. And that's who he hires and that's who he wants in his program. And so it's really that mantra of just good people love people is reflected throughout the program.
Yeah, adding on to that, I also commend Jarrett. I think he's done a great job at creating a program there where they're creating elite athletes, but also investing in us and people way more than on the court. Like we could have been the worst volleyball players to ever play the sport of volleyball, and he wouldn't have cared because he genuinely is there just to make us better women. So I love that mantra. But yeah, Jarrett's other motto this past season was winners win. And I think that was perfect for our team because you're going to have days that you don't play the cleanest that you want, but winners find a way to win no matter what. And that's something that really resonated with our team at that time. And I think any elite athlete is going to have to take that mantra within themselves, and you're going to have to get it out of the mud. Some days it could be like the worst match of your life, but you can still find a way to pull through and win in the end.
Well, now, Logan, you graduated in 2022. Asjia, you stayed an extra year and graduated in 2023. And you've both been part of the U.S. national team since then. So what's been the biggest difference between college and the national team?
For me, I would just say the speed and the skill of the setters as a middle. I'm just constantly looking at setters and trying to defend them. And my first summer in the national team gym, I was on skates, quite literally. I remember Micah had me like running around. I had no idea where I was going. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I would say the speed and just how deceptive and smart and skilled the setters are at that next level.
Yeah, I definitely would say agree with the setters. Just doing crazy things I've never seen before. My ankles were broken multiple times because of some of the setters I played. But I think too, yeah, the speed of the game and just I don't know, the physicality. It's really cool going overseas and just seeing some of the players that are, 6'6", 6'7", just hitting over the ball, hitting over the block, hitting the ball super hard. It's just like a new challenge to learn how to stop those players, but also learning from them because they're not just hitting the ball straight down all the time. They're using different shots. They're putting it in different areas. So it was definitely an adjustment, but also really cool to see the level that's out there and like what we can strive to reach one day.
Well, what was it like joining a team that's preparing to defend their gold medal at the Olympics? I mean, were there moments of awe? Like, I'm about to wear the same jersey and play on the same team as Jordan Larson and Haley Washington?
I definitely think, well, I'll speak for myself. I definitely was in awe, especially for Chiaka. I'd grown up in the DFW area watching her play in high school, and she played at the same club as me. And then she went to Texas, and I followed her steps going to Texas. And then finally being teammates with her with the national team was so cool. It was a very full circle moment. And I think it's something where you're so grateful and excited, and it's crazy the opportunity that you have, but then you're also like, okay, I also have to remind myself like I deserve to be here. I'm obviously amongst legends, but they're every day instilling in me the confidence and excitement that I'm also in the gym. So it's a really cool dynamic to have because you're playing with people that you've looked up to for so long, but then also you're every day like in the gym battling and competing with them. So it's really special.
Yeah, it's really cool. I have a similar experience last summer. I got to play with Sarah Parsons on the Pan American team, and we were roommates for like the whole trip and everything. And it was crazy because I remember watching her at Minnesota, and like literally she was like my idol. Like just I thought she was so good. Like I loved that Minnesota team so much. And so then getting to play with her and like room with her, and then realizing she's like a normal person that's like really sweet and like funny was like the coolest thing. So I think that's the biggest like the coolest eye-opening thing is like these are just like people, like they're just like us, like they want to make us better, they want to be friends, they want to hang out. Like that was the coolest thing. So we look up to them as these like amazing athletes that are like untouchable, but then they're just like the coolest, most down-to-earth people who want to help us in our careers and make us better. And that's like it's really cool to have that experience because I know not everyone gets that, but it's cool to see the girls in our gym, the older girls like want to give back and want to make us better and just like really just be so down to earth.
All right, ladies. Well, before we talk about the US's match against Serbia, 2016 bronze medalist Courtney Thompson is on the ground in Paris, and she sent us a clip with some insights from the game.
What's up, guys? Courtney Thompson here with League One Volleyball. Woo! I'm on the ground in Paris and just saw Team USA pull out a win versus Serbia. It was insane. Such a cool match. My voice is already hoarse. But man, it just feels like a quintessential USA victory. Like, it wasn't easy. Serbia is, one of the best teams in the world. Boskovic is still one of the best hitters in the world. And they're going to make great plays. And USA started hot. We were in rhythm. Thought Chiaka and Haley did an awesome job on the block. And Haley got some amazing service runs. Our dub sub came in. Micah and JT killed it, which is huge to have that off the bench and not an easy role. And then Serbia did what they'll do, and they made a run, and they started making plays, and they got hot. And I think the coolest part of this was that we just weathered the storm and stayed in it and just kept responding, and we freaking used everyone. Kelsey came in and had some incredible digs in crunch time and steadied our passing out, which allowed us to get back in rhythm offensively. So huge win for USA, not just the actual win versus Serbia, which is important, but just how they did it. And when you do that down the stretch, you got to be in those moments to win this tournament. So incredible start. I'm so pumped for these guys. And let's go, USA! Woohoo!
Let's go, USA is right. What an insane game. My heart was pounding. I mean, after that heartbreaking loss to China on Monday, the US came back in the most dramatic way possible, beating Serbia in 5 sets, 25-17, 25-20, 20-25, 14-25, and then the crazy 17-15 win in set 5. Now, before we get into how insane that match was, having been on the U.S. national team and playing under Karch, what do you think he said to the team between Monday and Wednesday that got them so fired up for this game?
I'm sure that he obviously had a talk and said that this probably wasn't the match or how he wanted the match to go, but just continued to instill confidence in the girls. I think every team there is good. Every team is going to push you to the very edge, and you're going to have to find ways to win no matter who it is. So I'm sure that the girls got together and just kind of looked each other in the eyes and instilled confidence and know that they've put in the hours and the work and they've done all the training to get to this point and they're here because they deserve to be here. So just figuring out that even if you're not playing your best, still finding ways to win. And they were able to do that today against Serbia.
Yeah, Asia covered it, but I do think like you could really see there was a shift with the team, like the girls in the court. I definitely think they grouped together as a team and just kind of talked through what went right, what went wrong against China, and like how they could approach the Serbia match and come out on top. Because I think that's that's what makes great teams great in situations like that when you're battling against some of the best teams in the world is when they can come together and decide how they're going to approach the game and just make changes. So I definitely think they came together and found a way to battle through it.
Well, now that you've sort of played for Karch a little bit, is there a difference between Jared Elliott and Karch?
You got it, Logan.
I mean, I know I haven't had as much experience with Karch as Asia has, but I do think like one thing about them is, I mean, they both know a lot about the game. They analyze the game at such a high level and really can nitpick things, like really small things and really small changes that can be made. They give a lot of feedback. They want to give as much information as possible. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, but then some players love that and love knowing kind of everything that they can look and choose from, like what to use, what not to use. But I think, yeah, they're just great volleyball minds and they put great teams together and allow them to really grind together and work through things together. And I think that's really hard for coaches to do too, is rely and trust on the players they decide to bring to tournaments just to work hard and work together. But I don't know, Asia has more experience with Karch. So what do you think?
I agree with everything you said. And then I think more on a personal level, they both really invest in their athletes. Like Logan and I discussed before, Jared did a really good job at making sure that he invested us as women and knows us, has great relationships with us. And I think Karch does the same thing. He knows like every small detail about your family possible. Like he would call me and be like, how's your brother's tournament going? I know your dad was coaching. Did they win this game that happened on blah, blah, blah date? So he does that like across the board for every single member of the national team, which I think is so special because he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to really care about our personal lives, but he does so much. And I think that's why he's been so successful as a coach and gotten the girls to where he's gotten them to.
All right. Well, before we dive deep into some analysis of the game, I got to ask before we get into it, where did you guys watch the game?
I watched the game on my couch here at our little beach house in Turks and Caicos.
Ooh, that
Tropical
sounds nice.
vacation vibes.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of jealous. I
As
know
well.
my place wasn't as cool. But so I'm in Anaheim training with the Pan American team, and the game happened during practice, so we got to watch the first set all together, and then started practice. And then once the fifth set came around, we like took a pause in our 6v6 and got to watch like the last 5 points. So I didn't get to watch like the middle of it, but got to see the beginning and then got to see a beautiful ending.
Well, since you only got to watch the first set before you had to get to practice, did you think that, the U.S. was going to just easily sweep them in 3 sets?
Yes, I was like, okay, they came out strong in the first set. Like that's what I expected, and I think the whole team out here expected was, coming off the China loss, they were going to come out just ready to play and ready to just grind as much as possible. So I think they did a great job of just like playing USA volleyball. They were taking big swings and not being afraid. They were taking risks. Definitely against a team like Serbia, you can't play timid. You have to just go out as hard and as strong as you can. And then obviously Boskovic on the Serbian team is definitely, a force to be reckoned with. And so I think they just did a great job of managing her as much as possible. Like they know she's going to get her kills, like they know it's going to happen, but they managed her and found a way to come out on top.
Blocking wise, they're on fire, especially Chi. I think maybe 5 points into the second set, she already had like 4 stuffs. So that really can suck all the energy and fight out of a team if you're just blocking every single ball that comes over the net. So I think Chi did a great job starting that for the team and for the girls and gave them a lot of energy, and they started just rolling, and Serbia looked pretty defeated in those first 2 sets.
Well, speaking of blocks, in the third set, the U.S. lost 25-20, and a big reason was because Serbia was blocking them a lot. So as hitters, what do you do to adjust?
It's hard. It's definitely hard, but I think it's definitely hard. It's definitely draining sometimes. But I think the biggest thing when you're getting blocked is don't let it take away your confidence. Like so there's going to be some solid blocks in front of you, but like still swing hard, swing high, try to find corners of the block. Definitely just don't try to power through it, but just try to find different solutions. And then just rely on your team to cover. Like sometimes when you know like there's a big block in front of you, just try find ways to recycle, like use the block in your favor and know that your teammates are behind you to better the ball and give you another chance.
Well, yeah, actually, so that's a good point because I was curious, in the fourth set, they also had a tough loss. They lost by 11 points, 25-14. And the US just really struggled to score points against Serbia. I mean, they had a tough time against their blocks. A lot of their hits were either blocked or even dug. Some of their passing wasn't that great. So when it comes to playing, is there a fine line between wanting to play aggressively but also play smart? When do you swing? When do you tip? How do you handle those moments?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a line, but it comes to a point like when you're at that high of a level and the players on our team are so smart, have been playing the game for so long. You can keep the ball in play, but be smart with where you're putting it. Like if you're coming up, like put it on the setter, put it on someone who maybe can't handle the ball as well. So there's ways to keep the ball in play and keep the play going without just, giving them an easy ball that they're, going to just be super in system, have all four attackers and can just come right back at you. So I think that's what our team does a really good job of. I know in the fourth set, maybe they weren't doing the best job of it, but I think we have players like on both pins that can just keep the ball in play, but do it really, really smartly and not just give stupid free balls that the other team's able to just come and bounce it back in our throats.
Well, a really smart play that Team USA did was at that very last match point when it was 16-15. Boscovich was in the back row and they tipped it to her. And so she had to dive, try to pass the ball. She got it up, but she wasn't ready to get up and ready to hit, right? So they had to set to the outside, which is then when she hit it out of bounds and Team USA won.
Yeah, you love to see that too. Because some like volleyball, like non-volleyball players and non-volleyball fans, like they don't see that. Like they don't understand like, oh, that was a strategic play. Like they were putting it in a place where they take out their best attacker. So it's cool to see volleyball minds like work and, make things happen even though you don't really see it when it's happening.
Well, along with the blocking on both sides being pretty dominant, there's a lot of strong serves that were coming from both sides of the court. I feel like people at home don't realize how difficult it is to return a serve. Can you guys just explain how difficult these serves are at an international level?
Well, I'm not a passer and I've unfortunately never been a passer, so I'm going to hand this question over to Logan too. I can tell you what I think it would be, but yeah, it looks scary. I
was
wouldn't
gonna
want to pass
say,
it. So
I know
Logan,
it's
you can
like
give
Asia,
us
what are
you
you
can give
gonna
us your thoughts
say?
right
Like
now.
all those passing reps, it looks scary. I would say just at the next level, like these athletes just know how to put the ball perfectly on you. Like no matter how pushed you are to a corner, how much, how little court you're trying to take, like they can just pinpoint you so well. And that's just crazy. If you're not passing your best and you're trying to get pinched to the side, like they will still find you relentlessly. And it's very overwhelming sometimes, but the ball's coming super fast, but also floating and just like moving a lot, dropping short, going deep. So it's not just the fact that the ball's coming fast, but it's also like the depths are moving and changing constantly. So you're having to be prepared for a strong serve, but also having to see where you need to be to pass the serve. So it's a lot of things to think about. Asia, I'm jealous that you don't have to
Yeah, I
experience what I
definitely wish I did.
experience
If
on a day-to-day.
in another
But
life, I would want to be a pin hitter and I'd want to pass and play defense more frequently. Obviously, was not given that opportunity in this lifetime, but you know, if I have a daughter, I'm gonna put her on the right side. I think maybe the left. I don't know. We'll see.
me too. No, my daughter's gonna be an opposite, definitely. Definitely an opposite. But yeah, passing is definitely hard. But yeah, the serves at this level are crazy. And just to see our team be able to manage them, even if it's not perfect, I think our team is great out of system. Like Skinner and Plummer are really great hitting high balls. And so if they're able just to put the ball high in the middle of the court, and same with both of our opposites, they can hit high balls. So it's nice just to not have to worry about getting a perfect pass every single time when you have pins that can put the ball away when they're out of system.
I really just learned that I absolutely cannot guess ever. Even if I'm like so certain of where the ball's going to go, I try to stay as disciplined as possible. Obviously, there's like certain scenarios where if they're okay running all the way forward and there's literally nowhere else to go, like I know they're going to set that hitter. But one thing that really helps is Alfie does a great job with our setter scouts. So we know all their tendencies. Most of the time when they're going to set back, what they do, if they're setting forward, if they're setting in the middle. So we have a lot of information that we're given before matches that kind of eases your mind a little bit. But biggest thing is just to react, never guess, and just trust your athleticism and your speed to go get it. But there will be some times where you get juked out, unfortunately, and you just have to take that one to the chin and go on to the next play.
Well, for you, Asia, because you're a blocker, how do you handle the speed of the offense? Because I feel like the offense moves so much faster with more shoots, more ones, more slides, whatever it might be. It's just very, very quick paced. So, how do you handle blocking that and being on time to get those blocks?
Yeah, I'm sure we can both say we've experienced that few too many times, but I think one of the most beautiful things about volleyball is that every set is a completely new game. Like it doesn't matter
Yep.
if you lost 25-2 the set before, momentum shifts like that. So you can have the set of your life and play lights out the next set. So just not letting what happened the set before or two sets before carry over into the new one, especially if it wasn't how you wanted to play. I think just having that new set, new game mentality is really crucial in order to do well, especially at this level, because they could have just easily gone into that fifth set like, well, we weren't playing how we wanted. It's not looking great. Might as well just pack it up and we're going to go on to the next game. So they could have easily done that. But I think they did a great job coming in with that fire and energy and aggression. And we're able to, even though it was a close set, we're able to come out on top.
Yep, I completely agree. It's all about like the beautiful thing about volleyball is each set it's 0-0 and nothing from the past dictates the future at all. It's all about like and being in the present, starting that set strong and then being able to finish and not think about all the past things.
So going back to the game, after winning the first two sets, the US lost two straight, which we talked about. But what's going through your mind as a player heading into that final tiebreaker, especially after such a devastating loss in that fourth set where you lost by 11 points, like I mentioned earlier? And were there any big matches in your career when you played in college that you felt like you were fighting till the very end?
I was a little stressed, I'm not going to lie. And I feel like normally I am playing in games. I'm like, oh, I have control over this. Like, I'm not going to be stressed. I'm not worried. Like, I'm here. But now just watching on TV and being so worried about the outcome, I was like, my heart is racing like I'm in the game. It was so crazy to watch being here at home, but definitely was a little nervous. But I knew that they had it in them. I was like, we just need to do it right now. We need to stop playing around.
Yeah, same. I was stressed. We were all like huddled around. Taiba had her little phone out and we were all like huddled around watching. And like every time someone contacted the ball, we were like, like, just like, oh my gosh, like, is it good? Is it bad? So definitely a level of stress, but also like had confidence in the team that they were going to be able to pull it out. Like when you take a game to 5 and you're battling back and forth, like, you know, you have it in you to win. So definitely had faith in them and very glad they won. Because that challenge at the end had me scared. The challenge had me very scared.
Well, Logan, you joined like right at the end of the game. What was going through your mind watching this?
It was like, I think 14-12 USA. Like we had like game point. We were like, okay, let's watch game point and start practice again. And then like Serbia started coming back. We were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna watch this to the end. Cause yeah. So we were right at the end, but then they gave us a few extra points. I think they wanted to put on the show for us or something. But yeah.
Got to get your money's worth.
They wanted to make sure we got to see a few points, not just one.
So how are you ladies watching these matches? Are you watching them as a fan? Is it tape study? Do you imagine being out there one day? Like, how do you process the games when you're watching it?
I feel like I watch it as a fan and kind of like game tape too, but it's also like our teammates. So we are rooting for them as fans of USA, but then also it's like those are my teammates that I've worked so hard with over the summer that I want to do so well. But then you're also watching people, and I'm watching like cheap block, and it shows a replay, and I'm like, the way that she shaped around that ball was perfect. Like I need to do that. So there's so many levels of what it is when you're watching and observing the games. But for me at least, that's how it is. What about you, Logan?
I'm kind of the same. Definitely a fan. Like definitely like just like cheering for them and rooting them on, and hoping they pull it out. But I'm the same. Like watching some plays, like I'll just see attackers hit, and I'm like, I should try that shot. Like I'm gonna try that tomorrow in practice, or just like seeing like technique and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that was really impressive. I need to try that. Like I need to put that in my toolbox. So it's kind of cool to get to watch games like at this level with people we know and people we're cheering for, but also like people we look up to and we can learn from. And yeah, it's an interesting way to watch, definitely.
Well, you ladies are the future of Team USA. I mean, you guys could be out there in Los Angeles in 2028. So what does that mean to you?
That's the goal. That's always the goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I think it's like,
no, I think
you got it,
yeah.
Logan. You got it.
Okay, I mean, you're closer than I was, but I think it's cool to like, I get chills like thinking about it because yeah, I'm like watching these players and hopefully a lot of them stick around and get to play in 28 too. But it's like younger players always get in the gym in the next squad and get to compete, and so it's cool to think that I'll get to be in the gym with Olympians and competing and playing with them. But I get chills anytime the Olympics come around. Like I was watching swimming this morning and got like teary-eyed when someone won a gold medal. It's like that the Olympics are such a cool, amazing experience that every athlete strives for. And so just even thinking that I could have an opportunity to play with Olympians, but then in the Olympics one day is like just unreal. So it's definitely something I have in my mind, but just trying to keep myself very grounded and just working every day to try to get to that goal.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It is something that's so cool to think about that you're even in the topic of discussion about accomplishing. But then even just on a more personal level, like seeing Avery do so well. We both had our first VNL season together last summer, and just her being an Olympian now and just doing so well, like it makes me emotional. And then knowing her sister Maddie so well and playing with Maddie in college, it's like I'm so happy for that family, and just seeing Avery shine on the greatest stage of sports ever is so awesome. And it's just really cool for your friend to do something that insane and be able to watch them back here at home. It's so special, and it makes me really happy. And then hopefully in 2028 we'll all be playing together.
Well, Logan, you played a year overseas, but now you'll be back in Texas playing for LOVB Austin along with you, Asjia, and a lot of other Texas alums, including Chiaka, who is out in Paris representing the U.S., obviously. So watching the Olympics and knowing that you're bringing this high level of competition stateside, what are you most excited for?
Man, I'm just excited for American fans to really see what the international game is like. I think college has obviously grown so much, like the college level of play, and so they're seeing higher level volleyball at the college level, but there's like a whole nother notch that they haven't seen yet. And so just playing in it in Turkey and then realizing that I can bring that back, that same level, that same intensity, that same like physicality back to the States is so cool. And I know the fans will love it. I know the youth players will love it, and it'll just make them fall even more in love with the game and hopefully make them all want to continue playing after college. It's the coolest thing ever. And I really think the American fans are going to fall in love with the game of volleyball even more than they already are. And I'm excited to see the growth in the next few years because it's going to be really, really cool.
In Asia, you already had the opportunity to play professionally here in the US. So, from your experience, what can we expect when LOVB launches in January?
I think it's going to be crazy, especially in Austin. The city already loves volleyball so much, and I know they'll be excited, one, to have pro volleyball, but two, to also have Texas volleyball alumni back in the city playing for them. But the country really wants it right now. They want to see high-level volleyball, and they want to see it stateside and it be easily accessible. So I just know that across country, all the teams are going to have great attendance, and hopefully we're selling out games like every night.
All right. Well, before we end this interview, we have a little trivia game for you where the answers are going to be, some of the Olympians and your fellow LOVB players. So are you ladies ready?
Yes, we're ready, I think.
Let's do it.
All right, first one. What is the average height of the Team USA team?
6'2".
I'm going to say 6'1".
The answer is 6 feet, 2.5 inches.
Ooh.
So Asjia got that one.
I was going to say 6'2". She stole my answer, okay?
All right, next question. Which fellow LOVB players, and two players, which fellow LOVB players play the piano and guitar?
Jordan Poulter, I think.
Yeah.
And the piano and the guitar.
I feel like Kelsey would do that or something.
I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say like Haley.
Haley? No. Plays the piano and the guitar?
I think Haley has some...
I don't know.
I think she has some secrets up her sleeve.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Okay, give us 5 more seconds. I'm trying to think.
Who else?
Micah? I don't know. She seems like she'd be musically gifted, but I've never heard her talk about playing any type of instrument. I don't know.
Wait, Kelsey was a good guess though too.
Poulter for sure.
Where are we going? Definitely Poulter.
Justine.
Okay, but she had a keyboard in Turkey.
Oh. Okay, do Chi.
So, okay, I think it's Chi. I think we're gonna go Jordan and Chi.
Yes, you are right. It is Jordan
Logan.
and Chiaka. Well done. You did a little Slumdog Millionaire thing there.
Nice, Logan.
The insider information about the keyboard in Turkey. The insider.
That was good. I would have never guessed that. I was like, I don't know who plays this instrument.
We need to make her play for us. Cause what?
Yeah.
All right, number 3. Which Love Atlanta player has a clothing line called By the Sun?
Kelsey.
That was too easy for you guys. All right, number 4. Which Salt Lake player has a camper named Charlie?
Haley.
Yep. All right, number 5. Which Love Houston player's uncle was Pro Football Hall of Famer Chris Dolman?
JT? I guess it has to be.
Is it Jordan?
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, Jordan Thompson. Well done. All right, now this last question is kind of a 2-parter. So there's, an answer and then kind of like a bonus if you can answer them all. So number 6. How many former University of Texas players are playing in Love Austin next year?
5, 6,
8.
8? Who's 8?
8. You, me, Zoe, Sage, Chi, Julianne, Kat, Molly.
Yeah, I forgot to add.
You just answered the bonus question. That was it.
Oh, that was the question.
That was the answer. I was going to ask you to name them all, but yes, the answer is 8, and yes, all of those ladies are going to be playing for Love Austin. Okay. Well done.
Austin, Texas. That's home.
Well, before we say goodbye, I just want to plug our social media superstars, Kayla Stapleton, who played volleyball at San Diego and professionally overseas for 3 years, and Devin Newberry, who played beach volleyball for UCLA. They'll be posting Volleyball 101 on our social channels at Love, that's at LOVB, to help those new to volleyball to understand the rules, positions, and everything in between. So make sure to follow so you don't miss that. And that is it. Asjia, Logan, again, thank you so much for coming on Serving Pancakes. It was so great chatting with you guys about volleyball.
Thank you so much. It was so fun.
Thanks for watching Serving Pancakes. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. You can also listen to the podcast version on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.